So please give a warm welcome to Gabriel.
Thanks. So I'm Gabe. I lead the outcome-based marketing practice at Matterkind. It's a fancy word, I guess, for performance solutions. But what we do at Matterkind isn't just your standard, CPA performance. That's not really how we look at performance. We look at it more from a broader scale. So one of the big conversations that we've been having with our clients has recently been around TV, right? And reframing TV outcomes. I'm specifically talking about CTV. Obviously, there's been a lot of changes and a lot of growth in that area, but there hasn't been a lot of evolution in the way that we think about connected TV. I think it's still very closely attached to linear. In my perspective, it shouldn't be. It is a programmatic channel, and that's what it is, and we should apply the same type of rigor and scrutiny that we apply to every other channel in the programmatic space to connected TV as well. So what that really means is a few things, right? Let's just take a step back. Let's pretend that TVs didn't exist. It was invented 5 years ago. And it was a new channel into the addressable space. How would we be looking at it in that perspective, right? We would start with a few questions. First of all, in this day and age, we need to have accountability for the business. All the media that we run has to be held accountable to some sort of a business outcome. On top of that, there's also an increase overall with the way advertising is headed. It's not a one-directional street. It's a communication between a brand and their consumers. And there's a lot more expectations that the consumer has in terms of the message, the timing, the frequency, and all of that really bleeds into the overall ecosystem of the digital space and the interconnectivity in the overall consumer journey. And those are all things that we need to take into consideration when we're looking at connected TV as well. So when we think about it, what we should be first asking is what is the actual outcomes, right? What can we be using from a connected TV standpoint? Should it really just be for branding? Can it also be used for performance as well? So these are conversations that I've had multiple times with my agency counterparts, with clients as well. I'm always asking them, why are we not looking at TV more from a performance angle? I think the most common answer I always get, well, it's too expensive. The CPAs are too high, which it's true, but a CPA is not, I hear it all the time, it's driving actions. It's not really driving actions. It's correlating those actions to media, but it's not necessarily 100% causation of it. In the same way that we look at CPAs within search, the same way we look at CPA in display and social, they all have different benchmarks, and a CPA for connected TV can have a different benchmark as well. And we've actually seen a lot of studies, incrementality studies, that have actually shown that the return on ad spend in connected TV is actually much higher than other channels. Even though the straight CPA is going to be much higher, you're getting more return from that investment. Not saying that all CTV should be from a performance standpoint, but it is something to consider as well when you're thinking about CTV in your overall media plan. Other than that, I think the most common thing I see right now is the way that CTV is being activated as a whole. It is a content first, audience as an afterthought, which is really backwards for us in the digital space. We are an audience first approach to everything, and we want to make sure that this channel has that same type of strategy incorporated into it. And then it's really around just the programmatic aspects that makes programmatic so what it is today, right? Its growth is around its real-time bidding. It's around its real-time optimization. It's about the insights and the learnings that you're getting from it and your ability to apply those in an actionable way right back to your campaigns. Now, I talked about TV as just like a performance channel. It doesn't have to be that. It was just an example. What we're really trying to get to is a point where we're able to define in a very clear way exactly what the outcome is that we're trying to accomplish and building the KPIs around that particular outcome to deliver those business outcomes themselves. So whether it is sales, it can be incrementality, it can be in-target reach, incremental reach, whatever it is, I think what we need to do is just reframe it in a way that we're more comfortable with from a digital perspective, and it's definitely not, I want to target some age group and some gender. I think as consumers, we are much more than those 2 points about us, and there's a lot more we can do in a space that's so data heavy for us to really leverage those capabilities and ensuring that they are a big part of the CTV programs as well. So long story short, I mean, there's not really an easy way to do any of this. I think we have to look deep into the overall technologies that are available, and we have to have a better understanding of what is and what is not possible within each one of these areas. So household identity, I think, it's an interesting place right now. I think Google has had one stance, other partners have had other stances, but understanding how people are doing the householding, a lot of it is IP addressed based, along with other types of technologies and vendors to do more of that attribute or more of that matching back to other devices as well. Understanding what activation platforms are actually out there, which ones have householding capabilities, which ones are integrated with which measurement partners, which ones can do more of that real-time optimizations versus which ones are just passing log-level data to other types of measurement partners, things like that. Audience strategy is also a very big piece of it. We can't just supply unfortunately, we can't just supply our standard-based audiences to a TV buy because it is a little bit different. We're used to this one-to-one, person-to-person type of audience segments. With householding, that becomes a little bit tricky, so we do need to start to rethink about how are we going to reach these audiences in a household perspective, and what's the best way to do that. And then the inventory partners makes this even more complicated. There's a lot of players out there, and several big name ones are pretty much refusing to pass any sort of IP address, making the householding outside of their actual consoles pretty difficult to do. Also, defining that business outcome, whether it is a pixel-based sale, it could be an offline sale, finding the right partners out there that can understand what those business outcomes are and give you the measurement for that. And I think most importantly, making sure that we are doing our job in the digital space in terms of the reporting, the optimization, that insights and learning that's constantly going to make that campaign better and evolve over time. So, key takeaways, addressability and accountability has to be in CTV. TV, it could be a performance channel, it could be many things, it doesn't just have to be what it is from a linear perspective. It should never be looked at from that. It should be looked at in the lens of digital and programmatic first, in my opinion, and to understand what's out there from a technology perspective and build a measurement tech stack that'll really suit each brand's individual needs. Thanks.